Today's video is sponsored by NordVPN, which is a VPN that is super fast compared to other VPNs, allows up to 6 simultaneous connections if you want to use it on your phone or other devices such as Android phones and iPhones, and also can be used to unlock your local language Netflix to watch your favorite series if you're abroad. It all comes with a great discount and a 30 days money-back guarantee. They accept any standard payment methods such as credit cards, PayPal, and you can even pay using cryptocurrencies for advanced anonymity. And of course, you also support me and my channel by checking them out. So make sure you go to the link that I put in the description and use my coupon code NeeP to get 70% off the 3-year plan and 1 month for free. Hey guys, this video is a continuation of our previous video about me visiting the Geeks call center in Chandigarh, India. If you haven't watched that one yet, we suggest you to do so before watching this video, as it will provide context for what will be shown here. It will show you the full scope of the scam. You can also watch the other videos where I expose the scam. Links to both videos are in the description below. This video is about my experiences with victims of the scam throughout my scam baiting career, how to say. Not only with Geeks, but I'll explain a pretty personal story of one victim and my attempts to save her. Also, this video is meant to be the start of a discussion which I want to have in the comment section. I'll read and reply to all the comments there. Last but not least, due to my personal frustration, I might use stronger language which may portray me as less than understanding of the victims. Please be aware that this is not the case. I've done my best and I'm always here for help, but I'm a human and as such prone to make mistakes from time to time. So let's begin. When I was in the city of Chandigarh in India, I decided to meet with a few ex-employees of this call center who I have gotten friendly with. One of them is a scammer girl called Angie. She's around 23 years old and originally from the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. She moved to the city of Chandigarh in the state of Punjab with her family though. You can hear her in some of my videos such as Scammers Hate My YouTube channel. So I've already heard from her before going there that she made friends with one victim over the phone. An American lady in her 60s named Linda. Linda must have been a good customer, as the scammers would say. She must have been scammed out of several $1,000s, because Geeks would allow higher up scammers to scam victims over and over again by pitching them again and making up fake reasons as to why the person has to pay for another kind of service and security plan. Since the victims already paid once and fell for the scam, it's very likely that they'd fall for it again if the scammers justify it well enough. I assume she pays several times because usually the scammer won't get friendly with someone over just one phone call. Also, Linda isn't really the brightest one, as you can see in this conversation. Not only the conversation shows it, but the whole story I'm about to explain. I heard that a person called Linda became friends with Angie, and it took me quite some time to find her full name and contact information. I tried to message her on Facebook, but got no reply. I continued to talk to Angie and heard from her that Linda actually also came to India to visit her in person. It's actually true, I've seen pictures on Linda's Facebook page, like these pictures here. One video even shows Angie's parents in the kitchen, while Linda is recording the video and talking. When I met with Angie and we went to a club to party together, I used that opportunity and the fact that we've both been drinking to ask her more about Linda. I asked her if Linda knew that Geeks was a scam all along and that she basically was looted out of her hard-earned money. Angie looked at me and nervously laughed, saying no, she doesn't know about it, even to this date. Basically, her whole friendship, if you can call it that, was based on a lie. I was 100% sure that if Linda came to know that her friend Angie was stealing money all the time without warning her, the friendship would come to an end. Also, it's very likely that Angie used the friendship for financial gain. After all, Angie could be her daughter or even granddaughter given her age difference. That's why I tried to contact Linda again. I even found a phone number that was supposed to be hers in the customer files that I got from the Geeks call center, but nobody answered the calls. I was about to give up because I had no success, but then I thought about reaching out to a friend of hers to let that person connect the two of us, and that finally worked. I explained the whole thing briefly to that person, and then we created a 3-way group chat where Linda, the person, and myself could talk. I explained everything very calmly from the beginning, even mentioning Angie's real name to prove her that I actually was legit about this. I described Angie's appearance to show her I really met her and know what she looks like, and after 10 minutes of trying to use the precious time that I had to warn her about everything, the first thing that she replied was, "Please leave me alone. Fuck off. If you have a problem, get a lawyer." That really shocked me. After all the struggle to reach her and the information available on her and Angie, I had expected more grateful reaction from her. I could expect the anger, but not towards me, but towards Angie, who used her all the whole time. After a few more minutes of me trying to calm her down and explaining, she just left the group chat altogether. The third person couldn't do much either, apparently. Another incident was when I called another victim of the scam, a man, but I reached his wife instead, who didn't know much about computers. She was a bit wary of me and didn't trust me that much, but at least she told me to call back later on when her husband would be home, so that I could discuss it with him. She also gave me her email address to email her about the evidence of the scam. So I emailed her everything, but I didn't reach the husband that evening. The next day, I called again to find out if they had received the email and if they could help me with some research about the scam, and I reached him. Listen to how this turned out.
What is that other thing? God damn, what did you put on the same page?
Well, this is the guy you talked
Okay. How can I help you? I mean, what's going on?
I guess I can help you. I have this data that Herb named. I got this data that Herb got scammed by these Indian tech support scammers. And I was calling yesterday to Herb to let him know that he can charge back his credit card and everything because he has been scammed. And I was providing him information about this call center so that he can go to the police with this information or whatever, or go to the bank and get his payment back if it's still possible. I'm not sure, like if they can reverse the payment.
Okay, so what do you need from us?
No, nothing. I was just wondering if you received the email with the information. And because yesterday, I guess your wife was saying that she gonna call me back or like you gonna talk to me or something. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what you want. I'm sorry for being ignorant, but I'm not sure what you need from us.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't need anything from you. You were the one calling me yesterday. Like I was calling her and then.
No. Wait a minute. You called me.
No, yes, because your wife said you're gonna call me today, and because I was wondering if you received the email address with all the information regarding this tech support scam. Because you guys wanted to go to the police regarding this, so I was providing information. So since I didn't hear from you, or because
Because what?
What?
You said because, and I cut you off, but you were about to say because what?
I'm not sure, like, what did I say? Well, anyways, like, you guys wanted to go to the police because of that tech support scam that Herb was falling for. So I was providing the information regarding these criminals, and yeah, that's it.
I mean, it don't sound like you're giving me any information there, buddy. You're giving me zero information. You're giving me zero information. What are you calling me for?
I was emailing this information to at yahoo.com. At yahoo.com.
That's an email address.
Right, yeah. And
okay.
I thought it belongs to you or your wife, or this is Herb name, right? I mean, I'm talking to that family, Herb's name, right?
Yes. God dang. Okay. Yeah. You're talking to her, man. Ain't it?
Yeah, so what's the problem now?
What does my email address have to do with any... I mean, I'm not trying to sound rude or ignorant, but I don't understand what my email address has to do with you.
Because someone was writing me that email address from that number that ends on... That isn't the number that I'm calling. I'm calling on that same number that replied me that I should email all the stuff to that email address.
Oh, I don't know. Did you apply to some kind of...
So check your messages.
Some kind of protection agency, right?
No, I'm not.
That's what I'm saying. It's like some email protection kind of service or something.
No. Check your messages, man.
That's what he says. Check my messages.
Yeah, because you sent me a message.
Did you leave me a message?
No, you were leaving me a message. Check. That's why I'm saying.
I never left you a message.
So check your phone, like that number that I'm calling on right now.
You in live fucking mode, I'll fucking kill you, you fucking piece of shit.
What is wrong with you? You sent me a message. Just check your phone. I have it in front of.
I never left a message, you fucking. How the fuck is your?
So how would I know your email address and all your data about you, like your address and her name and everything? I can even say that the other email address, at outlook.com.
Hang the fuck up.
I'm trying.
What is wrong?
Damn it. Hate technology.
Why is he cursing all the time?
Here, give me that fucking phone.
Oh, I'm trying.
Just hang up.
I can't. I'm trying.
Oh, you're pissing me.
I called the police on these people, but since there was no real intention of killing me, they couldn't do anything. Then there was a subscriber of mine who fell for a Nigerian prince email scam. She had wired several $100s to a guy named David Lewis in India. First of all, the name sounds rather unusual for Indian standards. I requested that she send me the transaction papers that she received from MoneyGram or Western Union, whatever service it was, to check if there was any valuable information as to who the scammers are. She sent me this after a while, and as you can see, the picture was taken poorly, so it wasn't possible to see all the necessary information. I also gave her instructions to call MoneyGram itself and request a passport scan or any information regarding the person who had withdrawn the money in India, because at the point of withdrawal you have to identify yourself, so they should have more detailed information regarding the scammer. She insulted me. Her lack of general respect and common sense shocked me. She had also asked me several times to do a YouTube video about this scammer and gave me a Facebook profile of an Indian named David Lewis living in South India. Then the next day she had found some evidence for something in North India, so all this doesn't really add up. I told her this and she turned against me again and said that I'm not the real NeeP and that I'm not believing in her. I had finally enough, having spent several months trying to help her out while she didn't do anything, and blocked her. We also had an interesting case on our scammer.info email account. A lady called Judy emailed us out of nothing, claiming that someone called Niraj Kumar stole $150 from her PayPal. She did not explain the situation properly or who these people are and how the scam happened and why she contacted us regarding that case. Nevertheless, I replied to her the same day with a long email suggesting her to contact PayPal directly and to file a complaint with the police first. I was super friendly, as you can see. I did not receive any reply on this, so 2 months later I was interested in this case and I replied to her if there was any update to this. No reply. I sent another reminder another 2 months later, in June, and there she replied. First thing I noticed is the massive overuse of caps lock, which is always a bad sign. I again followed up on the email part of the scam. She clearly said in the first email that the scammers have sent her emails. I asked her to check if the emails were spoofed, and I gave her instructions on how to check that, and I offered her my help. She replied that she didn't come across any emails, which is clearly false, as she stated that in the first email. And at the end of the email, she told me to leave her alone, as it took me long enough to follow up on this. This is truly ridiculous, as I have been the one sending out reminders and putting my time into trying to help her, when there was nothing coming back from her for months. And last but not least, she threatened to post my insulting emails on social media. No problem with that, actually I'm doing it here right now, honey. Replying to her, I made this point pretty much clear that it wasn't me who is at fault for not following up on this matter, and because at this point I didn't want to engage in further communication with her, I told her I'll block her. The next email from her is so crazy. She claimed that she has never sent an email to our site scammer.info before, which is obviously false because she has been the one who has initiated the email conversation. And some weird runs followed, and at the end she said she will send all the emails to the government agencies and insulted me by saying I have an IQ of 40. Coming from an American lady that got scammed by PayPal scammers, this is really ridiculous. At this point I didn't even reply to it anymore, and the next day I was surprised she forwarded a bunch of spam emails like this one here to our email address. You could say now that these are single cases and don't represent the majority. However, I recently scammed a refund scammer who handed over a list of already scammed victims to me. A group of my fellow scambaiters called each person on that list to warn them about future refund scams and told them to charge back their credit cards if they had already paid the money to any scammer. 100 persons were on that list in total, and from those people, 6 understood the situation and were happy to be helped. 9 insulted us and picked a fight. The rest were not answering the phone, or the number did not exist, or voicemail answered. So more people were fighting than grateful of what we did, and that really concerns me. Nobody is perfect. I could be scammed too, given the right circumstances. But I don't understand why people get angry at those who are trying to help them. I'd be thankful if someone would warn or help me in any way to recover the money I lost, or to get revenge on the scammers. It's extremely frustrating as scambaiter who wants to help people and does all this to stop the scammers from taking advantage of people who don't know much about tech, that we have to face all the struggle and backlash from these people we are trying to help. It goes even up to this point where I'm starting to think, why should I spend my time trying to help people if they don't even want my help? So my question is this: how can we warn victims, help them while not facing any of that backlash and while not wasting our own time and nerves? Should there be a specially written script where the truth is being explained very carefully to not scare the victims away? Should I not call the people but have some native English speaker because my foreign accent is scaring them off? How do we improve the percentage of those appreciative victims who can hopefully successfully charge back their money and reduce the number of those who threaten us? Let me know in the comments, and again, please excuse my rant, but I feel this topic has to be covered in one way or another. Thank you.